Okay, sorry, I forgot that the software caps the video at an hour. We don't have much left, so there's going to be two videos, and I'll go through it really fast. Um, First of all, we have to. It's not first of all. It's in addition to what is said in the first video. We need to make sure that we comply with HIPAA regulations. You have to be extra sensitive to make sure that you are not exposing personal information in any kind of way that they connect the outcomes or the data collected with me as a subject. There should be no way that someone besides the researchers be able to say, hey, this is Moran's data. Okay, it's very, very important, and we'll teach you how to do it. And there's ways and there's protocols, so that's very important to comply with HIPAA regulations. And we're going to address that in the IRB. If you're collecting any kind of cell or tissue, we have to either keep it for 7 years or get the written permission by the subjects themselves, each and every one of them uh, um, in particular, to destroy the samples. And then we have to destroy the samples, and then I have to report to the IRB committee that it has been done. Um, your chapters. We're going to work on the chapters. Basically, we'll start writing the chapters only after you have your IRB approved. There's no point in starting having you invest time if your IRB is not approved. That's also one of the reasons why getting your IRB approved is a top priority in every aspect that you can look at, because without that you can't start writing. If you can't start writing, you're wasting time or losing time. And we will visit the chapters a bit later, so I'm kind of going to let it go right now. Although you can read the presentation, it's fairly simple. Okay, let's get done with the last few slides that we have. It's not much, it's pretty simple. Let's talk about professional distinction. Professional distinction is a multifactorial aspect of a person or a professional. As I said before, it's what's going to nail you or land you, your next job, promotion, uh, raise, whatever. It is different to every field and every profession, and we're going to focus on CEP. You can see that there are different ways to distinct yourself. You don't have to distinct yourself in everything. Sometimes even one aspect is enough, but the more that you have, you definitely, you got it, as people say. So here are a few things that we want to develop with you and emphasize and work with you throughout the next 2 years. It's not only this course. You have 5 professional distinction courses that a part of them at least will pertain to this, and we will work on it in lab weeks and then all the time. It's always in the background, basically. One, clinically and evidence-based research. That's part of professional distinction. The evidence-based being a major pillar of how we see ourselves, because it's a master of science, and science is evidence-based. And since it's a master of science in clinical exercise physiology, hence the word clinically. A professional portfolio will work with you on that, Jill especially. A professional curriculum vitae, CV, as differentiated from your resume. We'll talk about that shortly. There's a difference. The word opposed here in the presentation is probably not the best choice of words. And every year of the program, meaning your first and second year, you must send me proof that you have taken part in a regional or national conference. Webinars not accepted. Okay, so I suggest that you start mapping out uh, um, regional or national conventions. It doesn't have to be by the ACSM. It can be by, EPC. It can be by, American Heart Association. Something that has to do with clinical exercise physiology is fine. And if you're not sure, just send me the schedule or the information about that conference and I'll authorize it or not. I suggest that you do that anyhow so you don't go to a conference and pay or spend time and then I'll tell you this is not good enough. It has to be at least 1 day long, and as I said, webinars in this case are not accepted. We're going to develop your professional skills, such as using PowerPoint presentations, posters, and portfolios. We're going to promote and improve your interview skills with mock interviews. We are going to promote your ability to use critical thinking, and you're going to do what we call peer-reviewed article publications, extensive clinical internships, which you already know about. We're going to prepare you for the ACSM RSEP exam. This might change because the ACSM is thinking of changing this. We will give you the most current information once it's relevant and we know about it. Full thesis option, strong and robust hands-on component, and we have, actually I should have updated the presentation. We are an accredited program, and I can give you the letters of accreditation if you so want. Just let me know. Let's talk about the portfolio, although Jill will go over it with you guys and develop that with you as well. A portfolio is a completion of materials that is supposed to prove a point, to show who you are and what you've done. It's basically to show what your beliefs, what your skills, what your education, what your qualifications are, what are your achievements that pertain to a certain goal. It can be getting a job, it can be being promoted within your place of work. It gives backup documentation and a whole picture of your personality, your work ethics, and your work abilities. And it basically is supposed to build up to a whole presentation, a well-rounded presentation of your professionalism. Okay, in general, it's commonly used in workplaces for job interviews and within job interviews. It's commonly used in the academic setting to progress. I think it's getting less and less used in actual workplaces, but it still might be a good idea to have that in order to achieve promotion. And the biggest, I think, perk of it is that once you're committing or committed to your portfolio, you never lose any kind of article or artifact that might help you one day. It's all concentrated, and that's a good reason to have one, even if you're not thinking of promotion right now. You got a letter of thank you from Iran, put it into your portfolio. You got certified, put it into your portfolio. I think that is a good practice to have, and it's easy to forget. Same thing goes for updating your CV, by the way. Okay, so the process never ends. It's an ongoing thing, and basically, it's everything that has to pertain that has to do with your professional life. Most people don't have an organized portfolio, and then at the last minute they have to organize it, and they remember that they received a letter of recommendation 10 years ago. They didn't scan it, they didn't put it in the portfolio, and this is a lifelong thing. It's a lifelong commitment. If you do it a bit at a time, it's not too bad. If you don't, suddenly you have to start, producing artifacts and articles from the last 10 or God knows how many years, and it's usually last minute and it doesn't work well. Of course, you have to choose the most relevant and important things to show. You don't want to overwhelm someone with 1,000 articles or artifacts that are not necessarily relevant to the goal that you want to achieve. So basically, you want to save everything and decide later on what is most relevant and important at this point. And you can see, a humoristic video link that I put in the presentation. Okay, I'm gonna make this really easy for you. What's the difference between a CV and a resume? First of all, resumes are used still more in the US than CVs, but even the US is starting to shift towards CVs. A CV is, and this is the bottom line, you can read, but I just want to make this very simple. The bottom line of a CV is that a CV is not limited. You do want to make sure that the knowledge there is relevant or specific to your goal. So if you're interviewing for a certain job, and you're interviewing for a job as a professor at the university, I don't think that the fact that you were a delivery boy or girl for a pizza joint is relevant. But with that said, you're not limited with how much you write and how you write your CV. You are taking the risk of people not reading your whole CV. It has to be well organized and it has to be interesting. And there's always going to be parts of your CV that are not read. On the other hand, when I ask for a CV, I assume I'm going to get a longer document than a resume, and then most likely I might be open to actually read most of it. A resume is everything, everything crucial for someone to know about you. And you want to keep your resume as short as 2 pages. And if you can smartly put everything into 1 page, which is an art within itself, then that's great. People that ask for a resume want the bottom lines. They want to see if there's a click. They want to see if immediately something makes you it or puts you in the top 3 or top 5 candidates. It's said that usually your resume should be read at a normal pace and understood, and bring the best of you to the front within 45 seconds. That's give or take the time that people have to go over resumes, meaning that it has to be what we call the creme de la creme. It has to be the best and most important data about you that will nail you at least in an interview, if not much. And we'll teach you how to do that. So that is basically it for this week. You have the presentation. You have these 2 videos of about an hour and 15. It's probably the longest video you'll have in this course because it's the first week and we have much to talk about. And just start communicating with me if you have any questions. See you later.